welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another episode of AuthorTube Cafe. We have the one, the only, the amazing Natalie Jane Shields with us today.
Hi.
If you guys are new to this series, basically we sit down with some of your favorite authortubers to talk all things writing, publishing, and more. And today we have Natalie on, which I'm very excited about. I actually got the privilege to meet Natalie in Wisconsin during our group writing retreat situation. So that was really fun. She's just as lovely in person, can confirm.
I don't know if I'm lovely or if I'm a gremlin, but thank you for saying that for the internet.
Do you want to give a quick introduction of you, where you're at with your writing journey, all of that stuff in case someone doesn't know you?
For sure. Yeah. So hi, internet. Hi, Brielle's channel. I'm Natalie. I write books, I read books, and I make content on the internet about those two things. I am currently pursuing traditional publishing. That's always been the dream. And I have been writing for over a decade, I think over 15 years now. When I tried to think, I know. When I tried to think back, I was like, wait, I think it's been most of my life now. Yeah, I am working on my 7th book, I believe. This is my first, maybe my second, serious one that I'm sure I'm actually going to go through the process and query. And so, yeah, that's what I'm working on. That's me.
Love. And have you queried before? I don't know if I know this.
I have never queried before. Most of my writing I did when it sounds so strange to say, but I was ridiculously serious about writing in middle school and high school. And I wrote, I think, 5 novels from the age of 12 to 18. And I didn't know querying was a thing. I didn't know how books got published. I was just having a great time writing books.
So interesting. I feel like you're in a smaller subsection of AuthorTube because a lot of people, it's their first book or maybe their second. So right. I'm intrigued to hear all your reflections about having written so many. Drink check. What do we have today?
Yes. I have iced vanilla chai tea latte. And I think you also have the chai.
I also have a chai. Mine's not vanilla, just plain, but still really good. So we talked a little bit about your history with writing, but something that I think that everyone might not know about you is you have lived a million lives. Something that we talked about a lot on the retreat is Natalie has so much going on. Yes, all this writing experience also works in the film industry, which is so fun and fascinating. She's been in movies and stuff. She was pulling out random titles of movies that she's been in. She has a lot going on. So in that spirit, I would love to talk a little bit with you about your balancing situation, all those different passions, all those different creative avenues.
For sure. I think we should start with, I think you mispronounced lack of balance. But yeah, I definitely have a lot going on. I have a very demanding job where I have breaks in between, but when I'm working very, very hard and long hours. And I also act, and I also run a podcast with my friend, and I run a YouTube channel, and I'm writing books, and I'm also married and have family that lives in the same state as me, and just a lot. Oh, and I got a puppy because why not add more chaos to my life? So yeah, I have a lot going on. I don't know necessarily if I have found the perfect balance yet of all of those things, but I enjoy the process of figuring it out. And I enjoy the process of knowing that I don't have to be just one thing. I feel like a lot of times we get told just by the world in general that what you are, what you need to be should be so focused. You go to college for one thing and then you be that thing forever, and that's your identity. And when people say, whoa, what do? You talk about your job. And that just never sit right with me. I feel like I'm a person who's always had way too many passions and never really wanted to commit to just one because I wanted to commit to all of them. That's definitely it takes a lot of energy, but I like the process of being passionate about multiple things because it gives me the space and freedom to, I guess, move around what percentage of my life I'm giving to things. So I don't have to be giving writing 100%. And if writing's not going well, then 100% of me is disappointed or upset, I can be moving to one of my other passions in a time when I'm not feeling so creative in writing and I feel like my soul is still balanced. if that makes any sort of sense.
That makes total sense. I agree. Yeah. I feel like diversified fulfillment is like so important.
Yes.
Because like you said,
diversified fulfillment, that's a great phrase.
Thank you. Like you said, like if one area is not going the way you want it to at any given point, it's not all you have. Especially because writing can be tumultuous, and like any creative pursuit can be tumultuous. Like having other things to turn to when it's not going as well, I could so see the value of that. And I also really liked the point you made about like enjoying the process of striving for balance instead of like viewing it as a destination, because I do feel like people sometimes talk about balance like it's something you can like solve for yourself forever. It's like definitely not. Like you're constantly
your life is always changing. So like why would you think that's a destination you can get to? Like it's not possible.
So I'm curious, like with this sort of contract structure that you have in your work, have you had to like embrace more of like a sprint and then slow down approach with like your project?
Yes. I'm still figuring it out. So it's not a secret. I work in casting for like film and television projects. So I currently work mostly from home and then occasionally like some in-person callbacks or industry meeting type of things. But it's nice working from home because you can utilize those breaks. Like, you know, when you'd be in the office, you'd be like, well, I should probably find something to do. But when you're at home, if you have a 15-minute break, you can start a load of laundry or, you know, whatever. For me, I just now have to refocus that to doing things for my book because I am really, really trying to finish the book I'm working on right now by the end of the year and start querying. So it's been a little bit difficult to try and fit tasks into small chunks of time in between. But I've been trying to figure out how to, I guess, touch my book a little bit every day so that I can still be in contact with it, even if I'm not writing every day. And then, like you said, in the in-between periods between contracts, I'm able to actually like deep dive into the book. And I literally, before we started this interview, I wrote for 5 hours with Taylor and Wright, like on FaceTime. And we just wrote straight for 5 hours. And I got like 4,000 words or something insane like that. But
that's crazy.
I am spending this downtime not being down, but like really pushing forward on writing because I can give it 100% right now, which is really nice.
I love that. Would you say that like social writing is a big part of like your overall writing experience?
Yeah. And it's kind of funny. When I was in high school and like very serious about writing, I actually started like a writing group so that my friends and I who wrote could all like meet up once a week and write. And I kind of like forgot that was a big part of it because when I came back to writing post-college, I was like, man, like I don't understand like why I can't like do those big word counts I used to do. Or, you know, I'd write for like an hour one day and then not touch it for a month or something like that. And that was part of why I like started the authortube channel, was so that I could keep myself accountable. And then I started like meeting up with people either in person or online to write. And I was like, oh, I forgot that I love this. I forgot like this is what helps me actually write and talk through the problems that I'm having. And there's something to be said about being in a group of people who just get it. Like you can talk about the problems that you are having with your delightful husband or other family members, but if they're not writers, they're not going to get it, you know? Like I can't say like my characters are just off the rails, not paying attention, not listening to what I want them to do. And other people are like, what? And you're like, oh, sorry, you don't get it. I sound like a crazy person. But like, you know, other writers get it. Other writers understand and are able to support you. And I feel like I've found a good group of people who are able to be like, hey, get your head out of your butt and pull it together, which is really nice. But I would say, yes, writing socially has become a huge, huge factor in my writing process. And it's something that helps me actually see a lot of progress get done. And yeah, of course, I can still write on my own, write in the quiet. I'm an introvert at heart, so I do like being alone in my thoughts, but being a social writer helps a lot.
I also noticed that you do quite a lot of like challenges, which is very, very intriguing to me as a slightly scared of challenges girly.
You are? What, Brielle?
like a little bit, not even scared. It's just like, I don't know if I'm as much of like a diehard sprinter as much as I am like a chip awayer, but
right.
I'm curious what you find to be like the benefits of that like challenge structure and how you know when you like need that little kick of like a a specific goal like that.
I am definitely a switch it up all the time type of person. I have never liked the jobs, and I've had many jobs in my life, but I've never liked the jobs where I'm doing the same thing every day. I am not a person who thrives on routine necessarily, which I know is not necessarily popular, but that's just who I am as a human being. I like a little chaos. I have found that doing these challenges, if I just have a crazy idea pop in my head or I see someone else do something on YouTube and I'm like, I want to try that, it keeps it fresh. If I had to wake up every day and write for the same amount of time in the same place every single day, I think I'd go insane. Like, genuinely, I don't think that would work for me. And so doing these challenges of, like, you know, 10K weekends or 5K Fridays or my dog picks my writing routine or like, you know, things like that, it just keeps it fun and interesting. And I like doing something out of my comfort zone, even if I don't necessarily like hit the goals that I've set for myself, because it makes me stretch in new ways. It pushes me more than I would probably do on a day without a challenge. And it's great for content.
Yes, it is.
Like, it's just, that's real.
Mm-hmm. No, that's so real. And honestly, my hypocrisy right now saying that I'm challenge averse when I just filmed a challenge is kind of funny to me. But I completely agree with what you said about like the novelty of it all, the switch up of it all being beneficial. I also kind of think routine is a little overrated. I just feel like you can go stir crazy, and like novelty can be so inspiring and motivating. And like that's like when I'm in a new location or when I'm with new people, like that's when I feel the most excited creatively. So
exactly,
I totally relate to wanting that switch up of the vibes. And sometimes you really do just need that fire under your butt, because writing a book is such a long process that it's like giving yourself something tangible in the short term can keep you from losing your mind. So I totally get that.
I feel like if you get stuck in routine and you tell yourself like that is gonna help, I feel like that transitions into your writing, and then your writing gets routine. I don't know. I feel like when you are literally sprinting towards a goal, right? Your writing can pick up faster because you're just thinking as fast as you can. And maybe you might have to adjust the pace in editing later, but it switches it up. It makes your writing different than what you would just do on a normal day. If you wake up at 8 a.m. and you write at 9 a.m. every single day in the exact same spot, like, you know, it's nice to keep things different. I feel like if I didn't do challenges like this, I would have to switch projects constantly to keep being interested. And I like to focus on one project at a time.
Yeah. So. One of my personal favorite parts of your content is that I feel like the way that everyone panics when I get to the complimenting part of these episodes is actually so funny.
I can take a compliment. I'm just like, what are you going to say?
One of my favorite parts of your content is that I feel like you show up very authentically and you're sharing all the highs, all the lows, all the in-betweens.
Yes.
So I'm curious to hear what your perspective is on what you're trying to like what's your mindset around your content creation? Like, what do you want to achieve?
I think I just have always wanted to be authentic about the process, because little me watching like author content before it was even authortube, just like author interviews and stuff like that, I always would get frustrated by the people who would talk about like routines or like how easy it was for them. They'd be like, oh, I sit down and I write 3,000 words a day and then I leave my office and I go be a person. And I'm like, okay, I'm 14 and it's really hard to write a book. Like, you know, I never aligned well with that type of content. And so I thought when I was doing this, I wanted to be real, because what if there are little 14-year-old Natalies out there who just want someone to acknowledge that this is really hard and it's still worth doing. Like, writing a book is, I think, one of the coolest things you can ever accomplish. It's also like one of the biggest tasks you can ever accomplish. And the feeling of finishing a book, whether it's first draft, second draft, final draft, whatever, does not compare to anything in the world. And I feel like so many people give up along the way because they had a perception of what it would be like. And I always kind of thought that I just didn't want to contribute to that lie that writing a book is easy, because it's not. And so I like showing up and being honest and true. And, I start a writing vlog and I'm like, well, I really hope that I accomplish this thing. And a lot of times I don't, but it's about showing that failing is part of the process too. And in fact, failing is probably the most frequent part of the process. So I might as well get used to it and might as well share it with everyone else.
I love that you like have that perspective of being what the younger version of you could have used, like what you wish you could have seen. Because I can really relate. Like, I feel like back in my high school days and stuff, I didn't really have people that I watched on YouTube or like author content that I was consuming. And as a result, I did kind of think that it was going to be this like easy la-di-da process. And I did quit back then. So I wonder if I had like people to look to that were showcasing the good, the bad, and the ugly. And like the fact that you do have to have that perseverance, like maybe I wouldn't have quit,
It's kind of like mental health. It's like if we don't talk about it, then everybody keeps their insecurities inside. If we don't discuss what it's really supposed to look like, then we all pretend that we know what we're doing and on the inside feel like imposters, instead of understanding that we all don't know what we're doing, and that doesn't make you an imposter. In fact, it makes you one of us.
I agree. And I think that knowing that regardless of what stage you're at, like so many writers experience the same set of feelings and the same like constant self-doubt and stuff is so comforting, because you always think that there will be like a day or a stage where all of that disappears and you just feel confident forever. And I don't think that that's real.
Right. And I hope one day if I like when I get published and I'm on my book tours and all that, I really hope that I can continue to be this authentic and be really honest about the process, because I want people who maybe don't know that authortube exists, someone who may just come to a book signing because they really like my book and they think like, oh, I'd love to do something like that someday. I want those people to be able to see too. Like it's not all sunshines and rainbows. Just because you have a good idea doesn't mean you can write a book. It'll be really hard. Listen, okay, I'm the most stubborn person I know. And I'm also the most, I call it aggressively optimistic person that I know. And I genuinely think if there's something you want to do and you are stubborn enough to do it and not give up, I think you can do it. So I think anyone can write a book if they really wanted to, as long as they have the aggressive enthusiasm and the support system behind them. So if people can just get a little bit of inspiration or at least understanding from what I'm putting out there on the internet, then I'm happy.
If you were to attempt to encapsulate, like if someone asked you, how would you describe the overall emotional experience of working on your project so far? How would you attempt to encapsulate what that has been like from a like emotional, mental state perspective? Really
a roller coaster. Like it is moments of being so sure of yourself and being like, I got this. This is great. And then moments where you are just speeding down the track and you're like, everything is going exactly as I thought and I'm having a great time. And then there's a moment where you go, oh, I was not expecting that. Oh, this is not going the way I thought it was. Oh, I don't want to be on this ride anymore. and then the loop-de-loop happens and you're like, oh, I think I'm back. I think I feel great. I think this is awesome. I'm the best writer I know. And then you're like, wait, I actually hate this ride again. Like, and it just never stops until the book is done.
Yeah. That feels extremely accurate. I endorse that description for sure.
And it's so important. Again, I'm just going to like drill this in until we're both dead. But like, it's so important to realize that that's the process. Like, it's okay if you hit a low point, because that is part of writing and you will get back up and the ride will keep going.
And I always say that I think one of the reasons why it's hardest to like see that all the time, like that's what you're experiencing is that roller coaster, is because it's happening over such a wide stretch of time that like you can only ever see the part that you're in, and it feels like that's all that exists is like, oh, I'm in the like part where I want to like hike myself out of the cart, and
right
you can't imagine that you're ever going to feel in that part where you feel super confident again, you know?
And it's like with every book that you write, for people who've written more than one book, it feels like you start over and you forgot the process of what happened on the last book. and you're like, I forgot that this part was hard. And you're like, oh, why am I struggling right here? It's because you always struggle at that part. Like for me, it's the beginning of the third act. I always struggle. And every single time I'm surprised. I get amnesia every time.
That's so interesting. What would you say have been like the things that you have like learned over doing multiple books, like that now you do have more confidence with or more experience with or whatever it is?
I think a lot of things, right? But maybe the most important is just like that I have to keep going. When I get to the point that I am committed to an idea to be like a full-length novel, genuinely, I think that it can be a novel. And I don't get to a point where I'm like, oh, I think this story died out. Like if I sat down and I started writing the book, I start with the understanding that it can be a full book, if that makes sense. So I have learned over the past 8 books, that if I get to a point where I'm stuck, it's not because the idea is not working. It's because I either just need to keep pushing through, or I have to take a couple steps back and figure out what it is that's not working, because it's not the idea. And then the other thing I feel like is just understanding that it takes a lot of time. Little me used to do the artist formerly known as NaNoWriMo every single year. And I think the first 3 years that I did it, I was like 12, 13, 14, and I won every time, which is insane.
That is insane.
And then I became an adult and came back to writing, and I was like, why can't I do this anymore? And obviously it's because I grew up and I'd read more books since then, and my writing style had changed a bit. But also, like, I feel like you write with such abandon when you're a kid because your inner editor hasn't been fully formed yet. And it's so important as I got older for me to be like, writing a book takes time. I can't be like when I was 12 and I just wrote anything that popped into my head.
Yes.
Because now the books are better, which is great. The books are better, but they take longer. And I always have this expectation that books are going to be so quick and so fast, and I can finish a draft in 2 months. No, I can't. You can't, Natalie. It's okay. We've learned. We're learning every time.
That is so real. And I feel like I've even seen that on like a smaller scale, just looking at like draft 1 me versus current me. The pace that I'm working at completely slowed down. But it's because like my standards have improved. So I'm like, I know This is a net positive. I know that the book is coming out cleaner, but it's weird to see that like technically you're a slower writer. You can't hit those like goals that maybe you thought you could, whatever. Mm-hmm. And I think there needs to be an acceptance for the slowness of the process a little bit.
Yeah. Why aren't we celebrating the slowness of the process? I feel like we should. Mm-hmm. Like, how freaking fantastic that your craft has grown enough that you take more time to write. Like, what an honor it is to have gotten better.
What an honor to have gotten better is everything. I love that. So how did you decide that your current project was going to be like the one from like a querying publishing perspective?
Yeah. So when I came back to writing post-college, I didn't really look at the books that I had written. They're all still near and dear to my heart. And absolutely, honestly, the majority of them I do think I'll revisit. But I wanted to start something new, something that was like completely just the new version of me writing it. And so I actually ended up writing a historical romance first.
Love.
Which I loved. Still a great book. But after finishing 2 drafts of that, I kind of said to myself, I really don't think I want to start in the traditional market as a historical romance author. And that's something you have to think about when you're going to TradPub, because typically what you sign on as a debut is the type of book you will be writing for at least a good chunk of time at the beginning of your career. So I took a step back from that. I kind of sat there and thought about what I really wanted. And I have kind of always known I wanted to be a young adult author. That is like really the books where I started to be like, these characters get me, like this writing style, because it's generally more present, more fast paced. That writing style really spoke to me. And so I thought, okay, I think young adult is where I want to be. And I love fantasy. I love sci-fi. I love a good dystopian. So excited for Brielle's book. Everyone pre-order now wherever you get your books. So I thought, okay, if we're going to do this, we're going to start with a book that I really think can set my career off right. And so I had this idea swirling in my mind of like, okay, YA fantasy or YA sci-fi. And I just kind of let myself think about high concept ideas that would work. For me, high concept ideas are the things that like make me excited to write. I don't think every book has to be high concept, which I guess if people don't know what that means, it just means like something you can pitch in one sentence. Something that is very easily like brings you in one premise sentence. So I knew I wanted that because that's what excites me about writing. And
what's the pitch? Give us the pitch real quick.
Okay, it's not perfect. It is not finalized. But what I have right now is it's a YA fantasy inspired by the animated film Anastasia. And it kind of asks the question of what if this girl was raised her whole life to impersonate the lost princess of this kingdom in order to bring the royal family down from the inside. So, but yeah, I thought about all the things that I love. I made a list of all those things. And so I was like, okay, YA fantasy. I knew I wanted a strong female lead. Say what you want about strong female leads, but I love them. I knew that I wanted there to be like a romance element, a sort of enemies to lovers type of thing. I thought about like the types of media that I like, and I had just watched Anastasia and I was like, wouldn't it be really cool? And I was thinking about that scene when they're like auditioning the princess, the like, what do you call them? Like the imposters, I guess, to figure out who should play Anastasia. And I was like, well, what if they raised someone their literal entire life to play this part? And she was raised knowing her destiny was to impersonate this princess and to ruin this country. I was like, ooh, okay, that's good. I wanted something that was first person and fast paced and dialogue heavy. It all just started coming together from there. I knew that it would be something that would be easy to pitch. It's definitely right in the sweet spot of where the market is right now, which can be a bad thing because the market is volatile and might change. But you know what? I'm sticking with positivity right now. I have a lot of experience with rejection because of my time being in the film industry. So I'm kind of excited to query and not afraid of it. And maybe that's a horrible way to walk into it, but I kind of feel like I'm really prepared for it. I have been acting since I was 8 years old, and whether that was like local community theater plays or like actual like movies and TV shows, I've auditioned for so many things and not gotten them, or just not heard back, or gotten really, really close to something and didn't get it. And I've gotten really good at like letting it roll off my back, like not letting it affect me. My husband laughs at me because now when I audition for things, like 2 days will go by and he'll be like, have you heard anything? And I'll be like, about what? like I just have this amnesia about it because I've been trained my whole life to have that, to not expect things until the contract is signed. So I kind of feel like I'm really ready for querying because I feel like it's not going to affect me that much. Is that horrible to say?
That's awesome.
I might eat my words later. Let's find out. But that's how I feel right now.
No, that's actually great. I feel like so few people go into it with that, like, what's the word? Exposure therapy of like having gone through something similar. Because it's there are very few fields that have that sort of like pressure cooker.
Yeah. Me and like, rejection, we're like this. We're tight.
I'm sure it's going to go super great. I got to hear a little bit of this project on the retreat as well. And I was such a huge fan. I feel like it's such a natural fit for your writing style. So I can't wait to get a coffee. Would you say that you currently have like a community surrounding like the trad pub process? Like, do you have people that when you enter into that sphere, you feel like you can go to for support?
Totally. Yeah. I feel like authortube has been fantastic for finding that. I do feel like, and I'm sure you can agree with this, like authortube is pretty heavy on the self-pub side, but there's definitely a rising chunk of trad pub people on authortube. And I feel like I've been able to kind of gather friends from both areas and get perspectives from both. But I mean, like, Chris and Lynn, I feel like I have support from them. And then like Alyssa, Meredith, or like other people who are going through the querying process right now or have just gotten agents. I feel like I'm prepared to have a venting space for when I need it. And I also feel very excited that there is a group of authors going before me so that I can have questions answered when I have them, because of course I'm going to have them, right? And seeing Lynn, for example, go through stuff like that right now, it kind of gives me a little bit of reassurance, because hopefully by the time that I'm getting around to that stage, she'll be 2-3 books in and can help me figure out what to do on step 1. I feel like I've been able to find a really good community of people who can encourage me when I need encouragement and kick me in the pants when I need to be kicked in the pants, and, you know, set me right when I need to be set right. So
love. Yeah. It is kind of nice to see like a split of paths. Like, it's interesting that you said that you feel like authortube is more self-pub heavy, because I almost feel the opposite. Like, I feel like more people are pursuing trad, but it is kind of nice that I feel like there are people paving the way in both arenas. Like the fact that Cody and Taylor, for example, have self-published. I know I could go to them with questions about like, how the heck do I set this stuff up? So it's nice to see people at different stages. Then we can all like, you know, reach back and help other people who are starting and all of that. So
it's also nice that everybody has a different way of doing things. And it's back to that I hate routine thing. Like, so when I'm stuck on something, I can call Cody and he will walk me through it in a completely different way than Taylor would walk me through it versus what you would walk me through, you know? It's kind of like, oh, I sit there and I go, okay, well, what do I need right now to get through this part? Okay, I think I need tough love. I need to call Taylor. Like, you know, it's nice to be able to figure out who can best help me through the moments, because I have so many different personalities that are able to help me.
I feel like it's also nice from like a beta reading and feedback perspective that we have all these different people of different experience levels, different reading habits that we can go to if we need feedback. Thank you so much, Natalie, for joining us. This was such a fun little episode. Where can the people find you on the internet? My name is Natalie Jane Shields. You can find me on YouTube under that name. You can also Google my name and find out so many things about me. I am on the internet too much. Yeah, that's basically it. On Instagram, where I never post, I'm Natalie Jane Writes, but go hang out. I post some fun memes sometimes. Happy writing. Bye.